I think that acceptance has allowed me to live my life more fully. I get to do more meaningful things because I am not so consumed with wanting to get my life back. There's no life to get back, there's just life to live.
Is acceptance the key to living your life to the fullest? That is the question in episode number 3 of the Rolling With It podcast. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and go watch our previous videos. We're going to dive right into it. Bailey, acceptance, it's a big topic. How have you seen acceptance in your life so far, and what does acceptance mean to you?
I think I have seen acceptance the most in getting to live my life the way that it is right now. For me, acceptance is kind of when I stopped waiting on life to go back to what it was and starting to live my life and getting to experience really cool and exciting things under the circumstances now, instead of just constantly wishing that I could change things or thinking like, oh, I'll be happy when I can walk without support. I'll be happy when I can do this again. I'll be content when I have all these things. And just accepting like there's still so much good and there's still so much meaning in life and so much for me to do. I think that acceptance has allowed me to live my life more fully and not focus so much on everything that I wish was different. There are still things that I do wish were different, but I don't focus on them so much. I get to do more meaningful things because I am not so consumed with wanting to get my life back. There's no life to get back, there's just life to live.
I absolutely agree. That was a great quote at the end that you just said too, because
Thank
I
you.
think a lot of our lives living with a disability, I think, is mental. We talked about it in previous episodes. It's such a mental struggle as it is a physical battle. Like, I'm in a wheelchair. I have a ton of physical limitations, but my limitations don't stop at just physical. It's waking up every day and trying to battle through the frustrations that my limitations give me. And I think that just kind of accepting that I'm going to have struggles every day kind of just allows me to be like, okay, I'm going to have back pain today, or I can't feel my feet today. Like, it sounds silly, but like those are the things that I have to wake up every day and just constantly remind myself of, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this today. That's okay. Let's go do what I can do. And I think that that is such an important view in life, because if you're stuck in the past in anything, this goes for anything in life, but particularly in this situation for living with a disability, if you're stuck with on what you can't do, I think for me, I went through a period of that in middle school where I was just mad at the world. Like, there was nothing that you could say or do that would make it better. I was pissed at everybody. I was pissed at everything. And I did not want to accept the fact that my life was different. It was going to look different and it was going to be different for the rest of my life. And I think that that really prohibited my progress in life, looking back on it now compared to where I am, because embracing my wheelchair, embracing my limitations, I played wheelchair basketball, I played sled hockey, I've done all these different things now. It's amazing what you can figure out in your abilities once you're able to kind of just learn what your strengths are and use those to your advantage.
I agree with everything that you said. I think there's so much to just kind of accepting, like, okay, this is where I'm at. Like, there's still so much out there for me, but you have to kind of accept the way that things are to be able to experience those things. I think that ending up with a disability, I had a lot of people telling me, like, oh, it'll get better. I never really believed that until I accepted things, because I think that things only get better when you let them. And I was so stuck in this idea of getting back to where I was and getting everything that I had back, which wasn't feasible. And that wasn't a good mindset to have, because every time that I failed, or in my eyes, I viewed it as a failure. Every single time that I didn't accomplish things that I thought that I should have been or that I would have been had I not have ended up here, it really did impact me mentally, and it kind of put me in a negative place, and things were not getting better. And things will not get better until you let them, until you can say like, okay, like these are the cards that I've been dealt. What am I going to do with them? And I think kind of exactly what you said. I didn't do really anything until I accepted that this is where I'm at. Because I think the first, honestly, probably 3 years, I didn't really accept that I was disabled. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to do anything about it. Like, I wanted to just get back to my life, and that was all I cared about. But then once I accepted it, I have gotten to do so many cool things. I've also played wheelchair basketball. I've gotten back to swimming. I get to do a lot of advocacy stuff and like find new passions and find things that are meaningful now. But when I hadn't accepted it and I was so stuck in this mindset of like, I'll be happy once I'm back to where I was, that wasn't a way to live. I wasn't doing things that were giving me meaning and making me feel like I was living a meaningful life because you have to accept where you're at to be able to move forward and to be able to find meaning and find your passions and find all the new things that you care about and the things that make you happy. When you don't accept things, you really can't be happy. And I don't think acceptance is a one-time thing. I think there's constantly like there's still ups and downs. There's still things that just are so frustrating, but kind of what you're saying where you have to wake up and be like, okay, like this is what it is today. Today is just brutal. That's okay. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. I'll work with what I have today. And I don't think it's a one-time thing. Like you've accepted it, you're chipper and great and happy for the rest of your life. Like there's still things that are hard. There's still things that you haven't always accepted. There's still things that are, you know, very challenging, but I think that acceptance is kind of what allows you to just move forward and find new things and find meaning and value and purpose again. Because when you don't accept it, you cannot find purpose.
I think purpose is a very big word in this conversation because like when I was younger, I am a huge sports fan. I still am, but and when I was younger, I was gonna play pro hockey. There was nobody was gonna stop me. I was gonna play pro hockey. That was my goal. That was my dream in life. And I hit a point in fifth grade where I woke up one day and I was like, holy crap, I'm not playing pro hockey. Like, it's not going to happen. And what am I going to do with my life? And I think that was the point where I was kind of like, wow, okay, like, yes, I have to throw that out the window. But what is my purpose? It kind of made me think of that question of like, what is my purpose in life? Like, where do I fit in? What can I do? Because I have to throw out this dream. I can't do that, but where can I fit in? And I think that is something that a lot of our community asks itself every day is how do we fit in or where can we fit in? Because we feel so out of place everywhere and out of place more times than not. Um, and I think finding your purpose is super, super important because it just gives you a place of belonging and to wake up every day and to say, I'm here for a reason, you know?
Yeah, I think that was kind of one of the really big things for me was once I finally did accept, like, okay, this is where I'm at in life. There's still so much out there for me. There's still so much that I want to accomplish. I was able to find my purpose again. Because kind of what you said, like I woke up one day and was like, okay, all of these things that I wanted to do in my life and that I really put my value and identity in are no longer going to be possible. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that nothing is out there for me. It just means that the things that I really thought were my purpose aren't. And that's fine because there's still so much out there. And I did find new purposes and new things. Yeah, I think purpose is a huge part of acceptance. And I think you really can't find your purpose until you have accepted. Um, yeah, I think just purpose and acceptance go hand in hand there.
Do you think also that talking about the idea of it's a never-ending thing, do you think it's a lot harder for yourself to accept things when you may get comments by people in your daily life or just people judging you, knowing that they know nothing that you go through in your daily life. Like I know for me, it can be hard some days because I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I got my purpose. Let's go. And then something will happen and it's like a limitation or a challenge that nobody else goes through. And it kind of puts me in that negative mindset and maybe takes me a step back.
Yeah, I think that sometimes comments from other people that really cannot fathom a day in the life are really hard to accept, I think, because I think sometimes people think like, I don't know. I think sometimes people have a view that maybe you're not doing enough or you're not showing up enough or you're not putting your all towards something when the reality is that you are. You're giving the all that you have because there is so much that people cannot imagine having to do day in, day out or having to live with and manage on top of just everyday life. So I think it is hard to accept when people who don't know anything almost kind of judge a little bit or have things to say about how you're living and how you're making it through the day. I do think it's a little harder to accept. I think for me, it is also very hard when people who knew me before have things to say. When they're like, "Oh my gosh, like that's so sad. I never would have thought this would have happened to you." Like, yeah, me either. It can happen to genuinely anybody, but I think that's also where it gets really hard for me to accept is people that knew me before that kind of say things like, "Wow, like I thought you would have done these things. So did I. That isn't possible anymore. That's okay." But those kind of comments, I know they're well intentioned. I think those kind of make it harder for me to accept. Like, wow, like where I thought I'd be, so did everybody else. And then I kind of feel like I've let everybody else down. I've let myself down. But the reality is, like, I can't do anything about this. I couldn't have prevented it. I couldn't have done anything different. And all I can do is accept it. But sometimes when people say things like that, like, wow, I never would have expected this for you, it does kind of get under my skin a little bit. Like I didn't expect it either. It's still really hard. I'm still working really hard every single day to accept the way that things are and to move forward and to find where I fit. Um, yeah, I think it is hard to accept when people who really do not understand have things to say, I guess.
And there's a beauty to that side as well, I think, because I always have to remind myself that everyone's journey is different and it's going to look different. Even if you're not disabled, your journey's going to look different. There's no two people that take the exact same path. And that kind of made me think of my college experience, which I'm sure you can speak to as well. But there were times in college where I didn't think I was going to make it through college. I was having health issues. I graduated a year behind everybody else that I was in my class. And there was just times where I was like, am I really made for this? And it just kind of put me in that mindset of, wow, like my life is really hard. But then I got that extra motivation somehow of like, my life is hard, but I can do this. And obviously I ended up graduating college and everything, but it just kind of really puts in perspective of like, you, I felt like I couldn't do things at certain points, but you really are stronger than you think. And your mindset and your brain is just such a powerful tool that I don't think people realize or use enough.
I absolutely agree. My college experience was also very interesting because my first 3 semesters were on campus, normal. I was swimming, everything like that. And then I had to withdraw from school to deal with my health and everything like that. And I kind of went through the same thing of like, I don't feel like I can do this. I don't think that this is doable. And to just have the comparison between like, okay, this is how it was. It was so easy. I never even knew what accommodations were, didn't have to think about it, versus like having to deal with that on top of all of the health issues that I was going through and having to manage that and just constantly feeling like I don't think I'm made for this either. I felt the exact same way because I was like, it was so easy before. Like college is hard, but before I was disabled, it seemed so much easier because I didn't have to think about so many things and I didn't have to think about just managing my health on top of that. And I doubted myself a lot. I had to take a year off school I ended up having to change my major, transfer online. It was very rough. I didn't feel like I was ever gonna make it through that, and I did. And I think that there's a lot to that, to have been able to be like, okay, I made it through this. Like I can do hard things. And there is so much to your mindset because I think for me, once I finally got to a point where I was like, this is where I'm at. I still have things I want to do. I'm going to just do them. Like, it's going to be hard, but I'm going to do it because I want to. That's where things started opening up for me and where I found a job that I absolutely love and that I'm really passionate about. And it's not easy and it is harder on me than it is on people without disabilities because I have to deal with things that they don't. But that's okay because that's my life and that's fine. I want to be able to manage all of the hard things and still do all of the things that I want to do and just know that it's going to be harder for me, but that's okay. It almost makes it more rewarding for me to know, like, okay, I pushed through things that are really hard that I really wanted to give up at times and really wanted to not have to deal with. But I can push through hard things and I can find things that I want to do and that make it worth it, I think.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And I think overall today, Bailey, if you had to give one piece of advice of how to work towards accepting, coming from the perspective of becoming disabled, and I can talk about it from my experience, but what would you say is your biggest piece of advice for how to start accepting?
I think my biggest piece of advice is go through it. You can't get through it until you like go through it. Because I think that there's a lot more than just accepting it. Because I think for me, I went through so much frustration, so much grief, like so much anger. And I don't think you can get to acceptance without just going through it and feeling like all of the emotions that come with it, with like, oh my gosh, like this is awful. It sucks so much. And then kind of working your way through like, yeah, like it sucks, but like I can work with it. Like there's things to do. Like it's gonna be okay. It's gonna get better. I think my advice would be just go through it. Like don't avoid all of the negative feelings or like don't get so wrapped up on or hold like don't get consumed with holding on to how it was and using that as your identity and your inspiration for everything. Like just work with what you have, feel whatever you're going through and just work with it. I think also just give it time. Like it does, time really does help because with time you do get stronger, you do find your people. And I think time really does help it. And also community. Like find your people, find your community, find places where you fit. Like for me, wheelchair basketball was something that honestly really changed my life and helped me see like other people in wheelchairs, other people in wheelchairs who are working really cool jobs and like doing things and just out in the world and are adapting and are, years more into it than I am. And it was really encouraging to see. So I would say go through it, feel it, give it time, find your community.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say find your community as well. I think that was a really big part for me, especially when I would go through hospital stays or different kinds of physical therapy or rehab inpatient, that I knew that I was having struggles that only I or another disabled person would go through. Um, finding your community is absolutely huge, and we hope that this podcast can be that for some of you if you are watching and listening. So thank you for tuning in to episode 3. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our other content. But until then, keep rolling.